Hey, Dean here with Gamer Assault Weekly, and I'm going to talk about the new Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. Now, the first thing I will say is, I didn't experience a lot of the glitches that everyone's talking about. I know they say this is a very broken, glitchy, buggy game. I somehow didn't actually get any of that experience. I did, however, still have to download the almost 8 gig day 1 patch that everyone else did. And that right there is my first issue with the game. If your game is so broken that the day it comes out it needs a patch double the size of the install file, it shouldn't have been released. The entire QA team should definitely get fired for letting something that broken even make it out the door. And the whole reason it did make it out so fast with so many issues is that Activision needed a last-minute game for this franchise. Back in 2002, they announced that they were extending the license out to 2015. This is 2015, and we're getting toward the end, so Activision needed to put this out if they were going to get any more money out of this franchise. So they did, and this is unfortunately what we're left with. And really, now that brings me to the game itself. When you get into the game, right off the bat you'll notice it's kind of boring. The game itself just really isn't as fun and interesting as the old ones were. Now, I'm sure there's a little bit of nostalgia goggles going on for everybody that we remember something from a decade ago being fun and awesome, and now not so much, but I can't imagine them ever being this bad and no one noticing. I don't even mean the graphics, which also look like they're from the PlayStation 2 era. I just mean the game itself. Right in the very first level you play, it's just so open and unexciting and bland. There's not a lot going on, it's not overly complex. It's not fun. It really doesn't draw you in. It won't interest you a whole lot. It doesn't make you excited to do things. I don't really know how else to say that it's just boring. In some of the other games, you get into the levels and you're going on cruise ships doing various other things. You're in a foundry with pouring molten metal everywhere. There's NPCs and quest givers and random people walking around that you have to try not to skate into. There's a lot going on in a lot of those levels. In this, there just isn't. And granted, that's the first level. As you get into the game, there's more things going on and different levels that are more varied, but it's just a very bad first impression of the game. Now, this is heavily multiplayer-oriented. Right as you go in, by default, the button that you would normally hit X actually brings you into a multiplayer lobby. So you have to hit triangle if you want to do the game on your own. So they're trying to get you to play with other players, which of course would maybe liven it up a little, and that could explain why the levels are so big and open. They want to leave room for the other players that are going to be in the level with you. I think they can do up to, 8 at a time in a level? So you'll have a lot of people around you that might fill some of the space. Also, because it's so multiplayer-oriented, when you create levels in the Park Editor, which they did bring back to the franchise, you can share them online and let other people play them and play them with you. So they kind of took the Mario Maker approach in that they want you to build your own fun in the game, which is nice that you have the option. I always love when they include editors in games, so major ups for that, I guess. However, in this particular instance, because of how rushed the game was and how it's blatantly a cash grab on the franchise, this feels more like they're forcing you to create your own fun and not so much they're letting you. I know it's the same experience either way, but it just feels kind of shady that the experience is, I don't know, it feels cheap. And as I mentioned a minute ago, the other thing this game does have in common with the old games in the franchise is the graphics. They made a change in the development somewhere where they decided to go for this semi-cel-shaded graphic thing. I don't know why they took that art direction, but I can tell you that it looks like the game is straight off of the Nintendo 64 or the PS2. The graphics in here suck. It's very not good quality. It doesn't even look like last generation. It looks like 2 or 3 generations back. It's very poor. In this day and age, I know graphics don't matter. I will be the first one to tell you that there are some amazing games with terrible graphics. But on a console like this, with a sports action game like this, there's no excuse for the graphics to be that bad. Also, the music in this game, I mean, it's popular songs that are, I guess, out there nowadays, but it's just not as grabbing. Like in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, they had Guerrilla Radio by Rage Against the Machine and Worlds Collide by Power Man 5000. They had a lot of bigger songs that just kind of built a good atmosphere for the game. In here, they don't have the same effect. It's not. None of the songs are as memorable. It's not really putting you in the same mindset or mood as the soundtracks in the earlier games did. It's not the same. Once again, I guess they were trying to emulate the older games and bring back a bit of that nostalgia, but they just really didn't pull it off. So overall, really, the game attempted. I don't know what happened, if Activision's just out of touch with the franchise, which is probably the case, or if they just blatantly didn't care as they just wanted some last-minute money. But either way, while it technically may have all the elements the other Tony Hawk games had, it doesn't feel as good as the other ones did. It's not as much fun. It's not as in-depth as it could be. It won't hold your attention as well. The replay value is going to be next to nothing because just the play value really isn't there. Overall, it's a complete waste. I would not recommend the game at all. You're not going to have fun. You're not going to enjoy it. And if you read the other reviews and see other things about it online, I am apparently the only person that didn't have game-breaking glitches because half the people that tried to play couldn't even get past the loading screen. So, you've only got a 1 in 100 chance of even playing the thing anyway, and when you do, you then have to play it, and that's a punishment on its own. So, I'd recommend steering clear. But, enough of the negatives. If you want more gaming news, hopefully something a little happier, check us out over at GamerAssaultWeekly.com, and there's links down there to the many, many, many social medias that we're present on. Also, if you're not sick and tired of me yet, and I appreciate that, here's going to be a little annotation to my channel where I review other games, mostly retro stuff like the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And there's links down there to my social media as well, because that's what all the cool kids are doing nowadays. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.